Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'll do some backstories before I get to the main topic of the video. During the Cold War, Senator McCarthy, rose up and declared war against communism. Communism defeated Nazi Germany, if you didn't know, and thus communism spread throughout all the world. And so McCarthy, as a member of the Neo-Republican Party, that did a little switcheroo from Democrat to Republican, and Democrats came from Republicans, decided to declare war against communists. And as a result, you may have heard that Hollywood was under attack because of this. You had movies that were coming out portraying Nazi Germany and communist roles, and so many Hollywood actors and directors and producers and studios were blacklisted as communist sympathizers, when all they were doing was playing a role. I believe Jim Carrey plays a character during that time period. I remember a doc scene from the movie. I can't remember the name of it offhand, and I'm not going to look it up to waste time. But, I mean, the communist scare, the Red Scare, really panicked and paranoided, caused paranoia all over the United States. And it didn't help that we later had Kennedy with the Bay of Pigs and a nuclear arms race with Russia. And the thing we didn't understand, that we should have understood, is that actors are supposed to know the role in order to play the character. If they play a communist or the bad villain, and they do the stereotype that we are told, we don't get a good performance from the actor. We get a very poor performance from the actor. They didn't play the role to their best of ability. So when you're looking at the Ten Commandments, for example, neither Yul Brynner as Pharaoh or Charlton Heston as Moses did a good job. They sucked at their performance, but they were best actors. They got all sorts of awards for that movie, but they sucked because they didn't immerse themselves in the ancient culture. Now, they were at somewhat of a disadvantage because all they had to go by was the Bible, but they modernized the characters. They put a modern moral twist to the movie. Now, that's typically what directors do. They alter the original stories to the view and vision of the director, and often it goes against the writer. But if you compare Charlton Heston's performance as Moses with his role as the astronaut in Planet of the Apes, which was a simplistic role. All that was required of him for Planet of the Apes was that he be a white male, and that's it. He nailed it. He was brilliant in that performance because there wasn't much expected of him. It was not Rodney McDowell, one of the apes? I mean, they had other actors and actresses playing ape roles. They had to dress up in the costumes and makeup of the apes and gorillas and chimpanzees and so their role was actually better than Charlton Heston, who was just playing a white guy. And we forget that when we get caught up in groups being offended because they aren't being represented as they want to be represented, when what they're really saying is that actor sucked at his performance. And instead, the various groups want to cancel culture the whole Hollywood experience, just like McCarthy tried to do in blacklisting. And so the reason why this comes to my mind this morning is because I was expecting to have another episode of In the Dark, not realizing that they ended last week. And I saw, when I was searching to find out why there's no episode today, is that they finished their season, but then I saw that there were some complaints of a non-blind person playing a blind person. I thought she was brilliant. I actually got fooled thinking she may be blind. This is interesting. Is she blind? Is she not blind? I'm having difficulty telling. She nailed her performance. She was awesome. And yet people are complaining, oh, you didn't cast a blind person. See, they're trying to cancel culture, the show, if they can't get the job themselves as a person who's blind. Do you see how that's working? People are wanting movies that are actors and actresses who are purposely deceiving us. And the best deceiver gets the awards. That's how it's supposed to be. And yet we have people saying, oh, if you're doing a fictional show about a blind person, you need to cast a blind person. Because we know the part. We know what it's like to be blind. Yes, you do. And that's why you can't be cast. Because this is a movie. We need the actors and actresses to expand their talents and abilities, learning various characters for different roles. And so, in the Dark, her performance was excellent because I couldn't tell if she was blind or not. And turns out she's not blind. So that's like, oh wow, she fooled me. And so yes, she did an awesome job. There's a Bruce Willis movie also where a little boy plays a savant, as the one guy calls it, but he's autistic. He has trouble with emotional connections and communication, but the whole show was that he decoded a top secret government test that was going to go, into a big sale and become the enemy of America and the world. But this little boy, was supposed to play that role. They couldn't have an actual autistic boy who can decode these things play the role because, well, he's experienced. No, you have to have somebody who's not too close to the part. When you have documentaries and other shows, you need people who can play the part, not the actual character playing the part, because the actual character isn't always the best actor for the role. They're too close to it. They're going to want to change it. No, this is not what I did this. Prima donna. And so that's why you need an actor, and the quality of the actor is one who immerses themselves in researching the part And so Christian Bale is Dick Cheney. I haven't seen the movie yet, but yeah, you have to immerse yourself in the role. You don't want Charles Manson playing Charles Manson. Oh, can we have Charles Manson come out of prison and play him in the movie we're making? Your Honor, can we get permission, please? Okay, and so you don't want real characters, because you're not actually killing people in movies. You're not supposed to be, other than Faces of Death, which was not purposely directed that way. But that's the whole point, is that movies are supposed to be deceptive. The people aren't really in space. The people really aren't being murdered. They're not supposed to be having sex. The whole thing is a deception. They're supposed to be playing a role, and we're supposed to judge the quality of the movie based on the actor's abilities. And so Breakfast from Tiffany's, did the actor, who was Caucasian, play the role of an Asian to the best of his ability, or did he blow it? I think he blew it. It was a little weird and awkward, but you don't condemn the movie because of the actor's inability to research his character. And that's where this whole new wave of blacklisting is coming from, is people who are furious of movies that are fictional based, not like something like Rwanda, which is more documentary based, but taking forever to end. Come on. There we go. And so in a movie like Rwanda, yes, you want Rwandans, because that's the whole setting, and it's realistic in its presentation, unlike Planet of the Apes or Ten Commandments or In the Dark as a TV show. Those are fiction stories. And so with Mel Gibson, for example, we all know he can't speak the part, but to criticize him for his inability to have the accent is wrong. We know already going in, he's not going to present the accurate accent that should be expecting if this were a realistic documentary. But this was a purposeful Hollywood presentation of a director's adaptation of the show. And so, no. Or Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. No. Horrible. And Maid Marian. No. Horrible. But that's not the point. Those movies were still brilliant, and I want to watch them even though the actors sucked at their jobs. And so when the Oscars came up this year, and you had the one celebrity furious as she makes a snide comment complimenting the white men for being nominated. She has missed the whole point. First of all, you can't really judge acting in the sense that you can judge a baseball player for his performance. A baseball player has statistics that they go by to determine who's the best baseball player in the particular field, whether they're an outfielder, infielder, catcher, pitcher. They use the stats to determine the winner of the awards at the end of the year. Whereas acting, it's all opinion. And so in the sense that blacks are upset with actors playing black roles or not playing black roles, or whites playing Asians, what the people are really complaining about is that they sucked at their performance and they don't deserve the award that Hollywood is giving them. And so in that sense, yeah, maybe the Oscars need to be a little more up to date on the different cultures that are being presented in the movies, so that they have to do some research on their own to say, hey, you know what, if Mel Gibson is playing Braveheart, is this an attempt to accurately portray Braveheart, or is this a fictional portrayal? And they have to take those into considerations as well. And maybe the judges are failing in that regard. With Breakfast from Tiffany's, for example. I mean, there weren't as many movies to compare to, but maybe they should have said, you know, maybe the guy playing the Asian role is a little bit disingenuous, and I think we can't give him points for that performance. I don't think he was even in the running, but I hope you get the understanding. So Casablanca, was it Casablanca or was it another one? Or maybe it was both. But yeah, Hollywood was getting attacked and blacklisted by everybody, going back in time, rejudging all the movies. You can't do that. Back off. I mean, it's wrong. You don't want, and you definitely don't want a situation where you have a quota of different races in a performance. I mean, if you're doing a movie about the KKK, it's not quite appropriate to have Asians. Blacks, yes, but not as KKK members, except for Black Klansmen, which was awesome. I mean, that was based on a true story. And so I don't know too much behind it, but I do know the racial contention. And so to find out for the first time that there was an actual undercover police officer posing as a white man when he was black, I mean, that was an awesome performance. But if it's not about the lynching of the KKK, but the group of the KKK, and the blacks who get hung and burned and crosses and all that are extra features in the show as background material, you don't want to cast the KKK dragon as a black man or an Asian or a Mexican. I've heard the jokes about Hamilton, and yes, he does look Latino, doesn't he? Was Hamilton Latino? I don't know. I don't think so, but it doesn't matter too much as long as the person who was cast as Hamilton can nail his performance, which means if he's Latino, he has to perform as a white guy. Uh-oh, he's whiteface. See what's happening here? And so, are we going to cancel culture Hamilton because Hamilton was not portrayed by a white man? No. You have to judge it by his performance. Did he nail the performance? But yes, if you're a black man cast as Hamilton, you're going to have makeup. You're going to have white face. Because otherwise, he's not going to nail the part. And And so that's a complicated issue if you don't understand that Hollywood is just for entertainment. It's actors trying to tell stories and lying and deceiving about who they are. Because we know Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He's got a family and lives a normal life just like the rest of us. But when he's on the job, he's playing a different character altogether. And so we shouldn't expect to see his character changing the role just because he's wanting to play his way of doing things. Mormons make this mistake also. There was like 20 years ago, there was a Mormon going to the University of Utah into acting school to get a degree in acting, and she didn't want to play cast in certain roles. She wanted to play roles that she wanted to perform in, and you just can't do that. As an actress, you need to be able to perform whatever character you're assigned, which means immersing yourself in the knowledge of that character. She only wanted to play Mormon roles, in essence. And you're not going to expand as a good actress if you limit yourself onto what you're going to play. And if you are going to not want to have a bad character be bad, you're not grasping the concept of what acting's all about. There is purposeful protagonists and antagonists. The antagonists are supposed to be bad guys. The actors playing them are supposed to have you hate them. If you love the bad guys, unless it's done purposely, but if you're cheering for the bad guys over the good guys, then the bad guy actor has failed at his job, or the good guy actor failed at his job, or the writer failed, or the director failed. Somebody failed somewhere. If you're liking and loving the role of the bad guy. And so for this Mormon actress to say, well, I don't like playing bad girls, mean girls, I want to play good girls. Yeah, but there are thousands of others who want that role. And if you're going to limit yourself on your skill, those other women who aren't limiting themselves on their skills are better qualified. And that's what that Mormon girl did not understand, as she was trying to cancel culture all of the University of Utah's acting department so that she could play whatever role she wanted in life. And it's just wrong. And so here it is, as the Church of Jesus Christ is presenting themselves as a religion, I've exposed that they're a fraud. They're not really religious. They're using religion as a cover for their criminal operations. And they're doing an excellent job, because they've fooled lots of people. Not just Mormons, they've fooled others who are not affiliated with the church. Others think, oh, they're a religion, okay. And yet there are those who acknowledge that they're a religion but are not happy with what the church is doing. So the ACLU keeps trying to keep the church in check, saying, oh, you gotta give freedom here, guys, come on. Or protect LDS children, hey, your bishop's gotta cut it out. Ordained women, hey, you got to be nicer to women. The BYU students, hey, you're victimizing victims of rape. blacks, hey, you're not being sensitive to our needs and our 400 years of American oppression. But all of these groups are still acknowledging the church, as a religion. They have been deceived by the acting skills of all of these men, who are literally antichrists. They don't believe in Jesus Christ. Their symbol is the symbol of Lucifer, which was an awesome scene this morning. You probably didn't see it, but I mean, it was awesome. The pollution messed it up for the first little bit, as it had to rise above the pollution level. God, I can't believe we brought it back. Unbelievable. I was worried about that too. I was like, wow, pollution's gone. How long can we sustain this? Not long at all. And man, but it was beautiful. The moon side by side with Venus. Like I said, there's a symbol with that. Something's happening today. I'm not sure which way it's going to go, but something's happening today. Watch for it. It's Friday. Something's going to happen. But the church has deceived us. They are a corporation. They are clearly making money at the expense of the membership, claiming to be a religion. And during this crisis, they've revealed themselves. And it's interesting, as Judge Oberg came out on the 6th with her report and recommendation against me, that I was doing videos on YouTube talking about all this and about how the church has been complicit in coronavirus. And then to have on Friday the church come out and say, we're ordering every Mormon to wear masks. And I came out with the video saying it's too late. But that's a response to me in a lawsuit. They're trying to show that they care, that they aren't trying to murder us. And yet they fail with me because I see through them. But other people are not seeing through it. Other people are getting deceived because of their brilliant acting performance, as they go on stage 2 times a year for a whole weekend and put on a show. So just understand that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are not who they are. They're actors playing a part. And you've all determined that they are playing their part brilliantly, and that they deserve awards for how brilliantly they've deceived and lied to us. But this is not a Hollywood movie. This is our lives. And we're dying. We're getting poor. We're being sick and afflicted. We're in need of financial assistance. And the church is sitting on trillions of dollars, refusing to help. And so they're the antagonist of the show, pretending to be the protagonist. And it's a brilliant movie. The only problem is it's not a movie. It's real life.